Billy, this episode was so good.
Are we going to get
Oh,
right to the ratings?
I, I
Right
mean,
there, just hit right into it.
why small talk? I mean, don't get me wrong. I love small talking with you. I'm trying to pull up my notes actually as we speak. There they are. Um, my rating, I'm giving it an 8. I almost said 0.5. I'm giving it an 8. I
8.
think
Okay, how
that's my
come?
highest.
Any particular reason?
Oh,
Why did it feel 8-ish?
multiple reasons. One, I feel like there was just a lot of forward movement this episode. Ariana Cooper, there's forward movement, but in a way that I think is going to lead to trouble in the finale, slash also maybe set us up for season 3. I loved the scenes with Angela Ainsley, and also how that interaction kind of also foreshadows a lot of things that happen with like Tommy, Cammy. It just like it was an episode where you're like, whoa, all these things are happening, but they really mean
Okay.
something bigger that we're gonna have to probably deep dive into in season 3 because we can't do it in a finale.
Our streak of agreeing ends today, I'm
Oh.
afraid. I give this episode a 6. I thought it was a very, very interesting episode, but not a great episode. I thought the powerful scenes at the end were diluted by a fairly flimsy first 45 minutes. Like the setup wasn't there
Flimsy.
for that to work. There was just a lot of fluff until I think once Tommy gets fired. That's when things started to really roll downhill for me.
Maybe I like fluff.
Well, I mean, that's why I said I enjoyed it. It was enjoyable. It was interesting, but I don't know if it was good
All right. Well, we're
necessarily.
about to get into the show, but first,
Yeah.
tell me what that poll was that you were putting on social media.
Well, a lot of chit chat here already on the YouTube chat, and I want to thank a lot of our regulars. Johnny, I see James has checked in, Chad has checked in, and we have a really good audience, and a lot of answers already for this week's poll question, which is at the end of episode 10, Tommy Norris will be back at MTEX, will be working for or with Galino, will work for or with Cooper, or will be unemployed. Right now, 49% say that he'll be working for or with Cooper.
Time shall tell.
Yeah, we'll check back here before the end of the episode today and see what the official results of that poll are.
Billy, remind us of last week's trivia, and then let's hear the answer.
Okay, great. We do trivia every week, a new question each week for one of those great Dutton Rules t-shirts at the Taste of Country store. Tasteofcountrystore.com is how to find it. And this last week's trivia question was this: TL's physical therapist has a very unique vanity license plate. Correct spelling only. What was it? You want to give it to us?
Well, I'm all of a sudden forgetting it. I know it was lips.
With
Crap.
how many P's?
2. It was
Yeah.
ILIPPS, right?
Hot lips.
Hot lips. There.
Hot
That's what it was. I was
lips.
like, there was a word before it, and I'm not remembering.
All sorts of correct answers on this one. I can't remember the winner's name. I apologize. I haven't written it down, but I did reach out to that person and they'll be contacted. I want to go back a week though, because we had a trivia question that I thought we did not have an answer with. And a regular viewer of the podcast, whose user handle I think is Boise Blue, reached back out and said, No. I was in there. I commented such and such days ago with the correct answer. And I explained exactly that it was Mustafa Speaks' character, who is the environmentalist. That person was absolutely correct. Their t-shirt will be on the way. I just missed it. I apologize.
Boom.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, staff at tasteofcountry.com is where you can leave the trivia answer, as always. And we're going to dive into not last week, this coming trivia later on in the episode. Also, sorry, y'all, if it sounds like cars are passing by, it's not. We have quite the windstorm here in Nashville today. And let's just say my windows are not, I can just hear the wind.
Madison lives in a paper house. So if you want to super chat her some money for some new windows, well, she probably won't spend it because she rents,
Yeah.
but her future window fund
Yeah, thank
would
you.
be,
That'd actually
would
be
be
great.
valuable.
That'd be great. Alrighty, let's jump into the show. I mean, the biggest thing that I kind of didn't think would actually happen, but it did happen. Tommy wound up and got fired.
I didn't think so either. I mean, I was dead wrong. In the teaser video we did last week, I even said as much. I looked at that trailer because in the trailer they had the quote from Cammy where she says the president of my company shouldn't be adverse to the thing that founded this company. I thought, well, that was just fluff. That was just a big old nothing burger to get a think that she's gonna. And dang, she was wrong. Tommy absolutely got canned at the end of the episode, and he kind of had it coming. I mean, dude was Debbie Downering the whole trip. This is obviously a big day for her. Tommy, you got to fake it a little bit better, my man. Like, you don't have to be so honest with her, even if you're kind of protecting your buddy's legacy to a certain degree.
No, I was shocked. Also, Cammy, I'm like, girl, that wasn't the wisest decision on your behalf. You really probably should not be running this company. I don't know if you felt that way.
I don't know.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
kind of wrapped up in Cammy's optimism. Like, I feel like maybe they can will their way to some oil and some gas. Like,
Okay.
Charlie's in, Galino's in. It feels like somehow, some way, they're going to make that work. So I don't know. I don't know if I would have fired him necessarily, but I might have had a conversation with him like, listen, dude, this is a bad look. I got all these people here to watch us roll out this rig, and you're raining on the whole thing.
I loved the whole what it was the viewing party for it, or like the send-off party that they had.
Yeah, a rig launch party,
Launch party.
apparently not standard in the industry.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I didn't quite understand why Dale and Nathan were there, other than to get the free food. I enjoyed seeing Galino's wife again. I think they're kind of a fun, cute couple. But that to me, I think is all sort of building up to what's going to happen next week. And we're going to get deep into the episode 10 trailer here in just a few seconds. But obviously, this kind of connects right to our poll question. I don't know. What do you think, Addis? Where do you think Tommy's going to go next? And what do you think that conversation with Angela is going to be like when he has to be like, hey, babe, maybe you shouldn't have put our daughter in the Bowie house for an entire week. That's really expensive. And right now, I'm off to
Billy,
unemployment.
You're taking the thoughts and words right out of my mouth. I had a whole bit on that of here's Angela. They intentionally. To answer your question first, I don't think Angela's gonna take it real well, considering she's wanting a private jet and all these things, and the Bowie Hotel. We can touch on that in a second, but it ain't cheap. So I don't think I think here's what I do think with this conversation. I think for the first time, they're going to have to really deal with some serious things with their relationship, probably for the better, that she can't just throw money to the wind when she's upset.
Well, I also think that if this were the real world, like Tommy has a great resume. He would not be unemployed for very long. Like, he's been a really successful landman and the president of a company. His services will be in demand.
I also think he's not going to stay fired for long. I think Cammy's going to realize, oh crap, I shouldn't have done that. And then she's going to rehire him. And because he's so loyal to Monty and the relationship that was built there, he's going to come back and help her maybe dig herself out of a hole. And then ultimately they'll leave because he realizes that like life's way too fragile. And with TL and so many different things, I think he's going to realize like this is not worth everything that she's done.
You think that's going to happen next week?
Yeah.
Wow. All right. I appreciate how you're just.
I kind of want to say no, but I'm like, you know what? Maybe.
The show does move. The show does move really quickly.
It can. So I'm like, I'm just going to really speak that into existence and
I actually think the show is going to go the other way. I think Cammy's going to become more of a villain character, and Tommy is going to end up competing with M-Tex in some sort of way. If someone doesn't die by the end of season 2, and I think there's a fairly good chance that Galino or Cammy or TL or one of the prime characters like that might die next week. But I'm not going to say that will happen. Small chance that that'll happen.
I do think someone's going to die just based on the title, but we can get to that in the trailer later on in this
I
episode.
didn't even look at the title. Let me take an advance.
Oh,
Oh yeah, I remember the title of
don't you
this.
worry.
Yeah.
I got
All right.
you. I got you at
Mm-hmm.
the end of all this.
I agree.
Speaking of Angela, we've got to talk about. I love that the guidance counselor Greta comes back in this episode.
By the way, I totally forgot I have clips to play throughout this, including the clip of Tommy being fired, which obviously I missed, and I'll have to just skip that one. But
It's like we've done this
yeah,
before.
Greta Miriam Silverman is the actress's name. Was a great character from episode 1 of season 2. Didn't quite come back in the way I thought she would. I kind of thought maybe there'd be something else going on. I didn't anticipate an Ainsley roommate situation. But she was just as good on screen as she was the first episode, in my opinion.
Oh, I love her. I love her character. And also Angela just coming in and being like, I'm sorry, my daughter's not going to room with her. And Paigyn, and this is what we're going to do. And when she goes, well, you'd have to get, once you have the information for for an apartment housing, and she just goes, 1 second, calls up the Bowie Hotel right there and is like, all right, done. Let me drop, $1,300 a night. No biggie. No biggie.
Have you ever had a bad roommate situation?
I don't think I should talk about it on the podcast necessarily, but let's just say my freshman year dorms, you had my actual roommate was great. She was potluck, but she was great. We had mutual friends, awesome. But we shared a bathroom with these other two girls. And so let's just say my suite mates. I had an interesting run-in once, and I just was interesting.
What do we got to get you to do to tell that story? I got to be honest. I mean, that sounds like a banger. Like, I would really love to know what happened there.
I just want to say I was scarred for life. We're just going to leave it there and we're going to move on. This podcast isn't about me, Billy.
I will share my story because I can relate to the nuances of this roommate situation that Ainsley's going with, and not just her point of view, but also Paigyn's point of view, as well as the guidance counselor's point of view. But here's the moment where the roommate lost me. It was the ferret.
Also, okay, there are so many things about this that I was like, okay, look, I'm all for being put with people that you're not necessarily, you might not be like-minded. There might be things that are different about you, and I think that's great. But and actually Ainsley does say this in the episode. I think with Paigyn not even being interested in hearing her 2 cents, but then bugged me. But then also Ainsley did need to stand up more for herself of like voice, like this is have a conversation. Like Ainsley still doesn't really know how to have a little bit of a backbone conversation of like, here's what I would love the lights on, or I don't meditate at noon every day, but hey, here's how maybe we could meet in the middle. But I will say freshman year is it's just a lot of change. And if you're in a rooming situation that it's like, I don't know, I feel like your room is your safe space for both individuals in this in this scene. And so it's like, I think Greta could have, I mean, it ended up being fine, but I'm like,
Right.
Greta girl.
Here's my general approach to, like, as someone who has been accused of having a little bit of a sharper personality, or a personality with some sharper sides, difficult to embrace right off the gate, I've learned that I kind of got to slow roll my quirks into a relationship. I can't just hit everybody with all the things right up front, or it's not going to be, it's sort of breaking a social contract for a little bit of small talk and easing into sort of a relationship.
Yeah.
I appreciate that not everyone's like that, and that is your way to go. The line in the sand for me was the ferret. If you're showing up with a ferret or really any other kind of exotic pet, are those allowed at TCU?
See, that's my 2 cents. I would say no. I mean, I don't even
No,
like, at A&M, dogs weren't even allowed unless
no,
it was a, like, true you needed the
a
animal,
service
a
dog, right?
service
No.
dog. So the
And you got
ferret,
to
I was
have
like,
permission from your roommate. You can't just show up unannounced. I don't want any skunks, raccoons, ferrets, skinks, hamsters, cats, birds. Don't show up with your lizard on your shoulder. Like, you need to come to me ahead of time and say, hey, by the way, I got this ferret. Is it cool if I bring it? You can't just expect people to accept your ferret right off. I accept the right to do it, but you're breaking that social contract.
this feels deeply the ferret feels very deeply personal.
It's what got me. It's what sent me over the edge. A lot of the other stuff I could kind of deal with and didn't really bother me in large part. Paigyn, by the way, the actor's name is Bobby Salvor, and I apologize. I'm probably slaughtering how you pronounce this name, Menuez.
Uh-huh.
Um, and they are an activist. They are an activist with they them pronouns, a
Hmm.
veteran actor. Really sort of interesting to me that Taylor Sheridan made sure this role was authentic, because it's not necessarily flattering to the LGBTQ community. But he didn't just go cast an actress or someone to play Paigyn. He wanted to make sure he got someone from. And I kind of half wonder too if in doing that he ran the script by that person or maybe a broader community to make sure the portrayal was, I don't want to say fair, because that whole scene is getting just slaughtered right now online,
Mhm.
but at least not not a caricature. Well, to the degree to that worked, I guess could be argued as well. But there's a scene later in the episode too, and I'm going to circle back to kind of this conversation, because I think Taylor's relationship with sort of representing minorities is really interesting and genuine in sort of some unique ways, if that
Hmm.
makes sense.
I'm interested to talk on that more.
I do think there was one person in this whole situation between Paigyn, Ainsley, and Angela, and you might not agree with this. One person who I think was absolutely right about how Ainsley should have handled this.
They're telling me what to call them, and they're telling me no music and all the things that they need to feel comfortable, but they're not asking what I need to feel comfortable.
Did you inform them of what you need to feel comfortable?
They didn't give me a chance to.
Then it sounds like you and your roommate have a lot to discuss.
Totally. Like, you gotta give it a go. Gotta try.
No, I also agreed with that. Like, you can't just run and call mom. I mean, my parents, there were multiple situations in college where I called them first and they're like, so you're an adult, hang up this phone, circle back.
Yep.
And then if you absolutely need to call us, fine, but you need to work this out. It was
My
annoying, but
roommate
they were
my
right.
freshman year was it was a lot. Like, I don't think we are better off for getting through the year. We probably should have separated. He came from a house where his father had an illness and died shortly before the start of the school year. He was really, really sheltered, kind of raised by women. Um, Ended up coming out as gay, I think, a year or two later. So he was likely kind of figuring that out, like his identity in this sort of small town he grew up in. And I was sort of the opposite. I came from a big city. So, like, looking back at that, I was the sort of, I was the dominant personality in sort of the
Right.
room.
Right.
And I think that was not only to his detriment, but my detriment as well. But we tried, we really gave it an effort and tried to find some commonalities sort of throughout. And I don't know if I'm better for it or not, but I think it was a growth experience for me, for sure. Maybe for him.
Yeah. The fact that I will say I've been to the Bowie Hotel where Angela ends up putting Ainsley. I know, Billy. I don't mean to sound bougie. Once again, my personal hard-earned money is not being spent in any of these establishments. I realized as soon as I freaking said that. I was with my aunt and uncle, once again, the same people who are part of the country club in Fort Worth where you see Cammie all the time. This is not me. Okay? Thank you. The end. I walked into the hotel in Fort Worth, the Bowie Hotel. It is
Go on. I said nothing officially.
It was your laugh. I knew exactly what you were thinking. It is hella nice. It is. You walk in and you just know you're like, everyone in this room has so much money. And the fact that she was dropping, I mean, to get the oh my gosh, what room was she trying to get? The sorrel room? I think,
Yes.
yeah. The sorrel room, you can't even, because I was looking up on the website, you can't even just reserve it. You have to call for that room. You can't um reserve it online. And so I'm like, the fact that she's dropping this level of money, and then she goes, every college experience should be like this, honey. And I'm like, woo, well, your hubby is, or your, I guess they're not husband and wife. Tommy is out of a job currently. So this is about to be painful when you can't spend, thousands of dollars per night at a boutique luxury hotel.
This is how I imagined college would be.
I mean, this is how it should be.
I wish college was like that for me. I loved my college experience, but freshman year, I'm pretty sure my dorm had mold in it. So I'm like, one of
She
these things is
lost
not
me
like the
there.
other.
She lost me with that one. Like when she was kind of struggling up those steps, I was like, oh, hell yeah. This is authentic college lifestyle. But then she ends it with there. But I appreciated sort of the direct contrast between that and then the world that Ariana's sort of living in. And I'm sure that wasn't an intentional. Before we get to the sort of the next topic, did Angela just underage drink and party with the whole TCU cheerleading squad? Like that feels like.
No, I'm so glad you
issue?
said that, because I literally on my notes from the episode, I was like, so Ainsley has a fake ID ? And Tommy and Angela are just casually talking about her, like, don't drink too many margaritas. And I'm
Yeah.
like, she's not 21 yet. She just started college. She is 18 at best.
18.
And so this feels wrong as an adult, as a parent.
Okay. Let us know in the chat if you're watching, if you're like, just skim right over the underage drinking issue, if you think that sends a bad message. Are we being fuddy-duddies? Are Addison and I being like old farts here? Because I don't generally feel like I am in general, but it does seem like someone at the Bowie house would have said something or stopped serving them, especially when it came to the Margarita Marco Polo. Like at that point,
100%.
timeout, I need to see some IDs.
100%.
James is with us, by the way, on the chat. He says we're not in the wrong. Which we appreciate.
Yeah, the contrast in this episode of Ainsley's life and Ariana's is pretty polarizing.
100%. Like it's a totally different world. I wonder. I mean, Ariana's got some money now, so I feel like she could get a better job and have stayed out of the patch. But that's neither here nor there. We knew some sort of tragedy was going to happen with Ariana, right? Like we kind of predicted it, not only because she seems to be kind of a character that bad things happen to, almost like Monica, really, who I think in season 2 or 3 was sexually assaulted herself. But we kind of saw this one coming a little bit with Ariana.
Well, it was with Johnny, who several episodes ago was, being grotesque in his words with her at the bar, and she throws the drink in his face, and I guess it was her first day at work. And so when he came back around, it didn't necessarily surprise me. That was a heavy scene to watch.
Did you see that scene coming? Like when she walked in that back alley to make that phone call, did you think, oh no, trouble's coming?
Well, part of me thought like, oh, is it Cooper surprising her? But then that was before the music changed. Once the music changed, I was like, I almost thought it was someone in the cartel at first. And somehow it was going to be along the lines of everything that Cooper's been in and all the above. But when I saw that it was Johnny, I immediately was like, oh, this is not going to be good. I didn't think it was going to go as far as it did. Some reason I thought someone in the nick of time, which technically Cooper still got there in the nick of time, but I thought before even any clothes were ripped off or any of the above, someone would have saved her. And so, yeah, I wasn't expecting it to go that far.
So if you're just watching or listening to the podcast, you don't know, see what we're talking about. Ariana goes to make a phone call partway through her shift and is confronted by a customer, and he proceeds to sexually assault her. Cooper comes in and just bludgeons the guy nearly to death. It's all caught on film. But prior to like the physical violence, there was a significant amount of verbal violence. She was verbally assaulted with all sorts of racist words. And this is something that I kind of referred to, that I think it's fairly interesting how Taylor Sheridan portrays minorities in a way that I think is realistic, but not always flattering or complimentary. Like Paigyn, that character was not, I mean, Paigyn as a character, I think, was a little bit extreme, but like good things don't always just happen to the minorities that he sort of represents. And he's done with some Native American representations. We see some women and people of color that are represented in some pretty powerful positions sort of throughout the show. Like he continues to hold up a mirror in all the ways. Like, yes, there's these people who are in great positions, but they're still getting racial epithets and getting verbally assaulted in all these sorts of ways. It's not going to be pretty necessarily when they're on screen. And I'm willing to accept a character like Paigyn, I think, but I think he creates that character, but he also asks sort of the baseline question with her, like, that how many people have is like, how can people have plural pronouns? That's like the baseline question,
Right.
that people have about the they them conversation. And he asks that while still sort of being inclusive. And I find that to be a fascinating dance. I think it's well intended all around. I don't know that he always gets it right, but I think it's well intended.
I think the whole Ariana moment is to set up. I think we're only opening up the can of worms here. With, and what I mean by that is, I think with the whole thing being on camera, I think Cooper might be charged with assault. Tommy's out of a job now, so even insurance wise, I don't know, or not insurance wise, attorney wise, I think that scene served the purpose almost to set up. I think we're going to see a little bit of like that event unfold, the aftermath of that unfold. Is Johnny even alive? Does he end up dying? And I think it's going to set up a whole situation for season 3.
There's a clip of, this is the aftermath after the assault. Cooper's pummeled him, and then Barney, the bartender at the Patch, comes out and sees what's happened.
I'm hurt.
You're hurt, pendejo.
No, hey, stop. I got it. Stop.
There we see the security camera. Maybe someone with a little bit of legal knowledge can weigh in on how that would play into a court. Like, in my opinion, that man brought that on himself. Like,
Agreed.
it's similar to like the house burglar slipping and falling on the floor of the house that he's burgling. Like, how can that homeowner be held responsible in any sort of way? Like, that action was justified for Cooper and Ariana, I feel like.
I don't disagree, but I don't think that it was by mistake that they intentionally showed that the whole instance was caught on camera. And for that, I'm like, there's got to be a way that this is turned on Cooper.
Yep. I think 100% right. And the trailer kind of indicates that. I know we're going to get to that in a few minutes, but if you have a chance, there's an interview that Paulina Chavez did with, I believe, The Hollywood Reporter, where she really takes you inside that scene and the filming of it. And you really get an appreciation of what it's like to film a scene like that and how real those emotions are, and like how your body just physically reacts to that. Like, she really makes it pretty vivid. Gosh, I just really like her as an actress, and she just we chatted with her once a year or so ago. Seems like a great person, and I highly recommend you read that.
No, she did. I mean, the way that her acting of that scene, it was so hard to watch, but therefore it's like she did a really great job conveying just what a lot of people feel.
A side note here, as we pivot, we're at our peak audience of all time, live audience of all time here on the podcast. So I appreciate
y'all.
everybody checking in. If it's your first time, welcome. I'm Billy. This is Addison. We talk about Landman and
Hey.
other Taylor Sheridan shows on the regular. And if you have comments or questions after the show, you can email us at staff@tasteofcountry.com or just drop a comment, and I'm usually pretty good about responding to those.
Hey, and it might end up on, we might talk about you on the podcast, you know?
Yep.
Cheyenne, TL.
Is this storyline going anywhere?
No.
Does this have legs?
No. I think it's, well, what I think the legs are is that I think TL's gonna die, and just these last little, like, Cheyenne has been this source of levity in his life and joy for the end of his life. Thankfully, in this episode, they kind of played with the fact of, he's like, if I, was younger, I would ask you out or be interested in this, and not necessarily in like those terms exactly. And then Cheyenne joked too of like, if you weren't 20 years older or whatever. Thankfully, they minimized any romance there, and I'm glad that they did, because I think it makes all of this okay. If they sexualized any of this, I would be out. It'd be weird, it'd be too much. So the fact that they didn't, now it can be sweet scenes.
They seem to be right on the cusp of doing it, though, don't they? I'm not convinced that they won't. I'm not convinced that there won't be.
If they do, I'll be so grossed out.
I
No
know.
offense, Sam Elliott.
I'm right there with you. Sam Elliott, he was brought in, I think, for this show. He shows where Tommy came from and his roots. And then he really helped sort of foster this emotional change in Tommy, which we talked about several weeks ago. What is he now on this show? I don't know. Like, this is usually when a Taylor Sheridan character gets killed off because he's not really serving a purpose. He could become like just sort of like the elder statesman of the family, similar to like a Henry Reagan from the CBS show Blue Bloods. That's not necessarily a compliment, but that could be what he ends up being.
You're saying if he doesn't die in the next
Right.
episode. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. Big Joe. Who else thought that scene was going to end a different way with a hand raised? Kind of there with you, Joe.
You did?
I kind of thought it did. I was like, no.
I didn't necessarily think so. I didn't think it was, but I'm glad that they like really cemented that it wasn't going to go that direction.
100%. I mean, this was a 4-minute scene. This was a fairly long scene, and it ended up being kind of sweet. Like,
yeah,
Cheyenne, or Penny, as she's called. Like, she's kind of a lovable character. Like, I kind of am rooting for her now at this point.
I kind of thought that might be your next trivia question, but you just said it, so maybe not.
It isn't. I considered it, though.
When she said that immediately, I was like, that's going to be Billy's trivia question. I know it.
I appreciate you biting your tongue over the potential.
Speaking of, well, I mean, I guess we really weren't speaking of love lives necessarily, but Rebecca, her feathers are ruffled. She is in love with Mr. Charlie, and she's definitely pregnant. Like, there's no way that they aren't going to write this into the script somehow, because obviously she's pregnant in real life, but this just affirmed any thought that I was like, oh yeah, she's going to be pregnant. But he's going to be gone for 6 months.
I don't know if smitten is the right word.
Oh, no. I was standing on my porch at 7:30 in the morning. I think you're smitten about something.
I'm intellectually astute enough to look past the bad jewelry and worse haircut.
What are you talking? This necklace is David Yerman.
Okay,
no,
fine.
it is. Well, it shows what you
I'm
know.
smitten. I like you.
I love love.
They have good chemistry. They have good chemistry. There's no doubt about it. Like, that was a really cute scene. Yeah.
It was cute. And like, smitten is so innocent and pure. I don't know. It was just, I like that they used also that wording. It just made it even more adorable.
Yes, 100%. To go back to your timeline about a potential pregnancy, Kayla Wallace is really pregnant. I think she announced in November, so let's pretend that she got pregnant in September. That puts her at like a May, June baby. If they film in the spring, she very well could be pregnant. But that would mean season 3, I think, has to, in the Landman timeline universe, has to start many months down the line. And that wasn't the case between season 1 and season 2. Worth considering.
Yeah, it is worth considering.
I also appreciate how you like to take long, quiet moments to ponder in the middle of a podcast. Like for the audio experience, people are like, did I hit a Wi-Fi snag? Did it stop streaming? No. That's just Addison.
I'm just
eyes up and to the left, thinking about what she's going to say next.
Sorry, sometimes I do forget about it. But I just, I'm like, oh, wait, right. People are listening to this and are visually, along for the ride. Yeah, that's all I have to say.
Oh, that's all. I got nothing more on Rebecca Charlie either. So we can move on to the next topic.
Well, next topic should be episode 10.
There was one more thing I wanted to show you, though. You want to see the most relatable? You got to listen closely here, but this is the most relatable line of dialogue Tommy has uttered on Landman.
I swear to God, you don't leave this house. You just escape it.
He says, I swear to God, you don't leave this house. You escape it. And if you got a busy house with kids, that is how you feel. Like sometimes when it's going to work, it's like you just escaped it. And I was like, oh, Tommy, my man, Taylor Sheridan's son must be giving him a handful. That house with his wife and his son must be, because you don't put that scene in there unless you felt that moment before. Because that was a home run line of dialogue.
Tell me you have kids without telling me you have kids. Hey, sometimes I feel that in my family, we're full of all grown adults. So,
yeah, that's true.
Gosh, you've got to warn me that that's coming because I know then it won't be breaking news, but it goes so loud in my ears. I'm going to be Sam Elliott next and I'm going to get old and can't hear. What's your breaking news?
We now, in theory, have an official name for the show previously called Dutton Ranch, starring Kelly Riley and Cole Hauser. It is the Yellowstone sequel. And after a trailer's a little generous, a short clip that aired during the Golden Globes on, I think, Sunday night, we now know that the show previously thought to be called Dutton Ranch, this is actually going to be called Dutton Ranch after all. So we're all good. Rip said it wasn't going to happen, but now that's actually what we're calling this show. So we have no timeline still, but at least we have a name and a short clip of Beth and Rip on a horse.
Yeah, we'll see if this show is beating a dead horse. We'll see.
Well, I mean, all the shows have changed names over time. I don't know if Yellowstone did, but 1883 was called 1886. 1923, I think, was going to be called 1932. Why Marshall is now just Marshall. I almost fully expect Dutton Ranch as a show name to change once again before it actually airs.
If it ever airs. I'm sorry.
If it ever
I did
airs.
not mean to yawn.
Thanks. Mike the Hoganator is asking about 1944. No news on that show. As far as I know, that's just sort of a concept. And then the Madison, we're told is is already filmed season 1, but no word on a timeline for that one. That as far as we can tell.
Okay, Billy. Let's get in to episode 10 trailer titled. Can I say what it's titled?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Didn't know if that was public knowledge. Tragedy and Flies, which that's not a good sign because you know what? You know what flies hover around? Things that are dead. Someone's dying this episode. I know it.
The official log line from Paramount Plus says Tommy regroups amid the chaos, reaffirming Norris family bonds with Cooper. Interesting. And then season finale. So it doesn't give away a whole bunch. But once again, my headphones have died. But that is what we know about episode 10. And I got the trailer here. We'll play it at least twice. It's pretty informative, at least from the standpoint of what Tommy is going to be going through.
I got fired yesterday. For what?
Next time on the season finale of Landman.
We need to have a conversation.
Look, if you know a good lawyer, you call him.
I need your help.
I made a pretty sizable investment with Cammy. An investment you'll lose.
If you lose this, the thing you love the most, that's the first thing I'll take.
What stands out to you?
Dun dun dun. I don't know what Galeno's taken.
Yeah, that was kind of my thought too. What does Tommy love most?
His family?
I'm thinking Angela or Ainsley probably has to be up there, but I'm not certain.
But
on
like,
what
how's
that
he gonna
means.
take them?
I kind of I made this mistake last week in wondering if that's almost like a edited together nothing burger of a couplet of sentences. Like that feels like it means something. It looks to me like he wrote Tommy a sizable check, and if Tommy loses the money, not the piece of paper that it's written on, then he's going to take whatever it is, which is what an indication that either Tommy is back with Cammy and maybe doing some negotiating for him, or he's kind of formed his own sort of enterprise and went to Galeno for some backing. Neither of those make a whole lot of sense to me.
It does play into, though, my 2 cents about Cooper. Clearly, there's going to be some legal issue with the whole Johnny situation that at least Ariana needs a lawyer. But also, I'm like, how does that work when I guess Cooper's still employed by MTech? But
Well,
Tommy,
true. So Rebecca could represent it, but she could do some side work pro bono for Ariana too if she wanted to, and I could see her doing that. That would seem to be kind of the case that maybe a lawyer like Rebecca might take, because it's Ariana that actually calls Rebecca per that little trailer asking for a little help. So it does look like there's some sort of big lawsuit coming. Maybe they figure out who Tommy Cooper or who Tommy Norris is and his power in the company, and Johnny, who is the bar patron, maybe he wants to get paid for his injuries.
which is so interesting if that is true. But
You want to watch it again?
sure. Did you like? I was thinking that in my head, and I decided to say it out loud.
I got fired yesterday. For what?
Next time on the season finale of Landman.
We need to have a conversation.
Look, if you know a good lawyer, you call him.
I need your help.
I made a pretty sizable investment with Cammy. An investment you'll lose.
If you lose this, the thing you love the most, that's the first thing I'll take.
Did you notice that Cammy was in black? Maybe a little hint of things. There are darker days for her after formerly wearing pink for a few episodes. So
Interesting.
just worth pointing out there. By the way, we got a nice super chat, a little donation from Z Marie, who points out that in Texas, a minor can drink with their parent if their parent is right next to them. Once they turn 18, they're no longer a minor. Is that true?
I guess I never tried that with my parents. I don't know.
What an innocent kid you were.
I'm telling you. I told you this already, but I told my mom I wish I'd pulled some more given my mom more gray hairs, and she tells me all the time, praise God you didn't, because we have a third sibling and he did enough of that.
Quick search says that is not true, but I'm not going to dispute Z Marie's knowledge of the topic here, because often Google AI is proved incorrect.
I've used that a few times for work for music history, and let's just say I don't use it as much anymore.
Yeah, it's not all that accurate.
No. Let's get to this week's Q&A, unless you have anything else you want to note on episode 10 to come.
Nope, this is the final episode, and someone at the start asked what our schedule is going to be. We will come back next Tuesday and do a sort of a final recap. That'll include our grades for the season as well. And then we're going to take a break, and we are going to come back and do a Why Marshall's preview episode. Now, whether or not that becomes sort of a weekly podcast, I don't know at this point. A lot of times network television shows they're just not as interesting week to week to sort of check in on as these shows that have 8 to 10 episodes, like not as much happens. It's a little more episodal where like, this is like a long sort of plot from start to finish. Marshall's could be a new sort of set of action and plot points every time, but we'll at least kind of give the overview and maybe try to figure out where the heck Monica Dutton went a few weeks after our finale next week.
Alrighty, Todd is our first one today who sent it in via emails, who says, I've said before that I don't like to predict storylines, but one jumped out at me as I thought about episode 9. My prediction is that Cammy dies and Danny becomes the owner and he rehires Tommy. I don't think Cammy dies. What would she die of? Suicide?
Well, it would have to be a tragedy or an attack of some sort,
yeah.
I think. I don't hate it. I could see that sort of happening. Nothing about what we've seen sort of foretells that.
Mm-hmm.
So it certainly would be a shock. But if there's a death per finale, I'd put her in my top 3 most likely to die at the end of the finale, I guess. There's a lot of people who think that somehow the Tommy and Galeno partnership coming back around, and there's a lot of people who sort of believe in that happening.
The next one is from Sharon, who says, I've listened to all the iterations of the Dutton Rules podcast. I think the two of you have a great rapport and enjoy listening to you. However, in this episode, when you got to the part about Cammy's decision on drilling, I wanted to scream when you said Cammy is making, quote, emotional decisions. If it were a man making that same decision, you would have used the words like bold, decisive, risk taker, who knows what he wants to do.
There's more.
Oh, sorry, there's more. Then you doubled down saying Cammy overreacted and owes a stranger at a bar an apology. A stranger who touched her face in a very intimate way without asking. Saying he wasn't too far out of line because that is what older single guys do when they see beautiful women at the bar. Seriously? Did you say that? I think you said that.
So, Sharon, right?
Yeah.
She's right. In both cases, especially in the second case there. My suggestion that guy owed Cammy an apology was off base.
Wait. No. Roles reversed. That Cammy owed him.
Yeah. I suggested that Cammy owed the dude an apology for that was wrong-headed, and sometimes it just takes people to show me what I actually said for me to sort of point out. To defend myself only slightly about that first half is I think, if I remember right, I was kind of parroting what Tommy and Galeno said about Cammy's emotional decision. I was kind of just repeating that more so than my own characterization of it being an emotional decision.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if a man had made it, I would have called it an emotional decision as well. I didn't mean that as a pejorative. I meant it more so that just sort of a fact and something said in the show. But with regard to that second point, yeah, my bad on that one. Sharon, I appreciate you emailing that to us because that was a little sexist. Where were you on that, by the way? You didn't say anything when I said that. Come on, Addison.
I'm pretty sure.
Cleaning up my messes here.
I'm pretty sure I did, in the sense that I said I did think her reaction, and this is like coming from a female who, like, I've been put in not that exact situation, but other situations before where I'm like, the heck?
Yeah.
To be put nicely. I think I did say that I thought her reaction wasn't that, her extreme reaction wasn't merited. Still, to be not okay with that situation was totally fine. And I agree with it. But I think the extreme of the reaction, and then I think I said something along the lines, but I understand because she reacted. It was something that Monty did.
Fair enough.
So I guess I didn't really help you, but I just gave my own 2 cents. I didn't pull you out of a hole. I wasn't.
Next time, reach through the screen and slap me.
Okay. Ben on YouTube, this is our last one for today,
with
says.
Pleasure, she says.
What?
She says, with pleasure.
Don't have to ask me twice. Okay. J Ben on YouTube says, so who's the bigger star? Demi Moore, Andy Garcia, or Billy Bob Thornton? I ask because one of them is going to get written out of the script. I'm guessing it'll be Andy Garcia.
I think Billy Bob Thornton's a bigger star. And I think Demi Moore will get written out of those three. If I had to pick one, I think she would be. Although my only hesitation there is that would make this show a little bit of a dude fest.
Yeah, you need some females.
Yeah, so I think maybe just from a balance point, she may make it. If I had to pick one, I would say Sam Elliott, who's probably the biggest star of them all. But of those three, I would say Billy Bob Thornton is the biggest star.
Okay, Billy. Staff at tasteofcountry.com, y'all, is where you can leave your thoughts as well as our YouTube video, the comment section. If you want to be a potential guest on our show, if you want me to read sorry, that's what I meant by guest. Billy's like, wait a minute, why are you promising also we're gonna have guests?
This is new. I mean, I talked about this. Go on.
I'm just like, you get a job. No. I meant more so I can read your comment at the end of this episode to clarify.
Fair enough.
Alrighty, Billy. What is this week's episode? What is this week's trivia?
Trivia this week, staff at tasteofcountry.com, or drop a comment on this video after it publishes live. Don't leave it in the chat. One correct answer from all correct answers is going to win one of those Dutton Rules t-shirts found at tasteofcountrystore.com. Not a hard one, I don't think. Where and when did TL get the t-shirt that he was wearing when Cheyenne wakes him up?
Billy.
No, that's not hard, Addison. You got to have a little bit of sense of the detail. And I know I go in there with a magnifying glass, but if you saw the t-shirt, we saw him when he got it too.
Okay, I'm going to relook at what the t-shirt says, and then I'm going to circle back to you.
James knows. He's right in there. I see him in the chat. He's up on it.
Okay. I'm going to have to still go back and look.
Are you looking at the t-shirt?
What?
I thought you were looking at the t-shirt. You had that look on your face.
No, I was reading the comments is what I was doing.
Yeah. James is in. He says he'll guest too. He'll be a guest star. One day, James.
I know. Sorry. I should have worded it differently. This is why I think through my thoughts first and why I pause, Billy. Because if I just keep having to ramble, I'm going to say things on accident that I don't mean.
This week's poll question, the final results here at the end of episode 10. Tommy Norris will. 42% of participants think he'll be working for or with Cooper, followed by 36% who say he'll be back at MTEX. Only 5% think that he'll be employed by the end of, or he'll be unemployed by the end of the finale next week. So great results. Thank you very much for the voting. And if you're listening in the audio version, you can always find us Tuesdays at 2:00. You can watch the YouTube version.
All right, Billy. What music did we hear this episode? I love this part of our episodes now.
This was such a there was so little music on this episode. It was almost startling. There was only 2 actually original songs. One took place in Louisiana when we were on the barge. We heard Tyler Childers' song House Fire. And then we heard Caitlin Butts soon afterwards at the pool party at the, what's the name of the hotel? The Bowie House. Caitlin Butts had a song called You Ain't Gotta Die. There was also a song at the finale, right at the final moments. I believe it was a female voice.
Cassie Ashton. It was Cassie Ashton.
Really?
I just really recognize her voice, and I'm pretty sure it was her.
Shazam didn't know. So Addison 1, Shazam 0.
That's if I'm correct. I'm gonna see if Cassie posted anything on Instagram about it. Make yourself busy.
No, well, we're kind of out of gas here. Here, I'm gonna play the. We have one. Make yourself busy when we've literally.
Yeah. Okay, don't you worry. Okay, so
Cassie
did post. She goes. A small note of sensitivity and female empowerment about the song. Oh, well, she went deep down anyways. Well, I'm showing everyone it's a whole video and I'm realizing she's talking. So that's what the post was. But Rain in Texas was the song and it played on screen. I'm pretty sure it played on screen at the patch. Like that's where it started.
Yes.
Okay. I just want to make sure we were thinking of the same situation. Okay. Cool.
I think you're right. I think it was right when Ariana's finishing up her shift before she goes to the alley. And Cassie Ashton, a friend of Taste of Country's, great artist, hasn't had a ton of commercial success, but certainly a really cool artist and a neat person as well.
Yeah.
Should you have the chance.
She's awesome.
Yeah.
Alrighty, y'all. Well, the Dutton Rules Yellowstone franchise podcast is another deep diving, and I was trying to find a different word.
Can I offer a word?
Yeah. Self-reflective is
I've
kind of where
never
I was
done this
headed.
before.
Okay. You close this, Billy. You close this. The floor is yours.
Email staff@tasteofcountry.com. I want to thank everybody for watching live, online, and through the podcast, Spotify, Apple Podcast. As always, the Dutton Rules podcast is another zesty Town Square Media podcast. Little inside joke there. If you saw it in the comments, if you know, you know.
Zing.
See you next week.
Bye, y'all.